Welcome to our Triweekly podcast over at Rearview. This is the first episode of the Rearview podcast, and we're discussing the first 3 weeks of the 52-week photography challenge. The first week was self-portraiture, the second week was traditional landscape, and the third week was artistic red. I remember them. Boy.
Okay.
Shall we start? Do you want to go 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3?
We'll start with the first one because I'm likely to forget it.
Yeah, well, I was going to say let's start with the third one because I can't remember the other two, and that would buy me time to remember them.
No, we're making it hard for you.
All right, we'll start with the first. Well, let's start with the processes for both of ours then. Do you want to start with yours? What did you...
Yeah, okay.
What was yours? Oh, yeah, the train station.
Did I have... I don't think I had an inspiration, so...
So you didn't have a thought process that was just like...
I knew I wanted to try and get something up near the train line. Okay, background story. I have a train line 200 meters from my house, and currently it's closed for train line works.
Yeah, underpass works or something like that.
So there's no trains on it, and I went up there and took my selfie there. It was more of a panoramic with me in it because I don't want to be in photos, but yeah, it was a long exposure at night, and I set up the tripod on one side of the road, ran across to the other side. One
of the things that I found so amazing with yours was how still you were able to keep in it, because when I was taking my photo of in week 3, the artistic red one, that was a 1.3 second exposure.
Seriously?
Yeah, I just had to keep extremely still. So out of the 50 photos I took, I had 2 usable ones in regards to
Why was it exposed so long?
Just to keep the ISO down. Because if I didn't do that, I'd have to have the studio lights a little bit more down, and then I'd get a bunch of other stuff like lights in the corner. That's where the
5 hours came from.
Yeah, it took a long time.
No, I think the difference there is because I was so far from the camera. If I moved a little bit, then it didn't matter too much. Okay. Whereas for yours, you were 30 centimeters from the camera or something.
Yeah.
So
it was really obvious.
What?
I had 3 photos, and I've posted one to my account, and it's the one where I'm looking over my shoulder with books in my arms behind me, whilst I'm also standing on a rail, on railway tracks.
Copying me.
Yeah, I thought of what you were gonna do, and I copied you.
You psychic.
So originally, my first one, which I haven't actually posted, is one of me bent down in a rainforest, and then we poured water all over the ground, and we had that half the frame reflecting me, but there was no meaning in that. I couldn't think of anything.
Was there a meaning behind your actual one? I don't know if you ever told me.
That was because I'd already done 2 or 3 attempts before, and I was in too deep.
Oh, yes, you have told me that.
So our processes were fairly different, but...
Yeah, what I'd like to say here, Paddy's very good at setting things up, whereas I make it up on the spot, basically.
Yeah, I've really noticed that. Yeah, but that's why you're better at landscape than me. So this is a good segue into the second week, actually, processes.
Yeah.
Which might be a better way to set out the 3 weeks, is discuss the processes over the 3 weeks. And then do another topic, but set it over the 3 weeks, because you are more patient than me.
Don't know about that.
Well, I don't have the patience to seek out the right area and wait for a good shot. I will make a good shot before I
Okay, maybe there are different types of patience. I don't have the patience to spend 3 or 4 hours setting up a shot and to realize that it's crap.
Yeah, that was...
And then hate myself.
Pretty depressing.
I love going out and just finding photos naturally rather than having to make them.
Yeah.
Or I still make them, get someone to pose or something, but...
portraiture and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But kind of on the spot.
I don't know. Also, another thing, if anyone actually is in the comments, I'd like to hear is, do you guys actually want for us to get one of our judges in every 3 weeks for the podcast so that we can get their insights and why they voted for certain things? So if you would like that, leave that in the comments. And if you don't want that, don't leave that in the comments, because I want to have a biased look on this, and I want to bring one of the judges in and know how they voted. Okay, or just let us know how you feel.
Yep.
And then the third week was artistic red.
That was an interesting week for me.
Well, you didn't have much time.
Nope. I had so much uni work.
So it was...
I legitimately thought of the idea and took the photo within an hour on the day before it was due. Classic me.
I mean, it was biased because last week when we took those photos, I had, like, that was my main focus. I didn't have as much on. Now this week, I'm actually kind of happy that it's headshot because I don't have to worry about it too much. In like setting something up and like really thinking it out. But then again, I'm worried that because I'm not thinking about it.
See, that's my issue with it. Like, how far do we take it? How creative can we be?
And like, how much time are we going to actually end up dedicating to this? I don't want to get through like 36 weeks and my entire week is like, yeah, what photo am I doing? I have to win. Although...
I'm still going to be I have to win, but I'm not going to dedicate that much time.
Yeah, look, I really didn't like the peanut butter, to be honest.
Have you thought of a challenge for me yet?
No, but I'm like thinking of certain things and I've gotten a few good ideas, but...
Yours are going to cause me a lot more pain than mine caused you.
Yeah, maybe. You know, what's interesting about my punishment is I don't usually eat peanut butter, and I have like an irrational fear that one day I'm just going to end up like my dad and have massive peanut allergies and eat peanut butter and just have a...
Is that actually possible?
I don't know.
I think don't they say like if the mother doesn't eat a certain food when she's pregnant, has to eat some Pringles?
I have to eat them softly, otherwise they'll be picked up.
Pretend you're eating in a theater showing A Quiet Place. No, isn't it like if the mother's pregnant and she doesn't eat a certain food, the baby could become allergic to that or something?
I don't know how true that is.
That's what I've heard, but I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how true that is.
Just so you can visualize what just happened. I brought snacks for this, and I brought pretty much like gummy bears that are sour. I brought what are these?
Chocolate things with biscuits.
Yeah, chocolate things with biscuits, and then I thought it was a good idea to bring chips.
Pringles, in fact.
Yeah.
It got really pringly.
They're pretty noisy.
Just like... do some ASMR.
Okay. Processes. No inspiration for yours.
For
in the first week?
Oh, in the first week. No, I don't think there was any, aside from like wanting leading lines and not showing my face particularly much at all.
Okay.
But yeah, no inspiration. How about you?
Inspiration for first week for me. Originally, when I was planning the books, a lot of those books were Brer Rabbit and Enid Blyton books, which are things that I like. Those are things that I liked as a kid. And then I thought of the rail tracks as like a metaphor for a journey. And then I thought that was a bit too... What's the nice way of saying?
Cliched?
Yeah, let's say that. I was going to say something completely... Let's say swanky, because it sounds better than...
Swanky.
Yeah, swanky.
Poncy?
Yeah, Poncy's a good one. And so that's why I scrapped that photo.
I didn't have such misgivings.
Do you have inspiration for... I don't think landscape would need too much. Mine was really get to the top of a mountain with like 6 kilos on my back and just try and take a photo. I didn't bring my tripod up because that way it would have weighed like an extra 2.5 to 3 kilos.
I think my inspiration for landscape was, although it doesn't really feature that much in my landscape, it's golden hour. Like, I took a lot at golden hour. And as much as I try to include nature in it, there's like none, unless you count the sea as natural.
Yeah. I don't really like that. Actually, let's take a good 5 minutes and just discuss like the definition of traditional landscape and how there are like purists who are like, gotta be natural and stuff, and then there are people like us who... I got to agree with you. I don't like the idea that traditional landscape should be sought out as just a natural landscape. That's
a natural landscape. It's not a traditional.
Yeah. You can have a traditional natural landscape.
I hate the word traditional. It's like, stick to the rules.
Yeah, it's
No.
got this like stigma or like this kind of archaic kind of feel to it, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. Instead of like reinventing the wheel, you're really just like getting that wheel, sanding it down so it's perfect, and then like dipping it in gold. So it's like, yeah, this is a good photo without any new cool perspective on things. The issue I have with that is though, it really strips back some of the creativity, for me at least. I kept on trying to think of like creative ways to do it, and then would go, is that traditional? And then I was like, that's not traditional now. Like, I wanted to have a... I can't even remember what I was going to do. I think I was going to have a tripod set up in trees that I climbed up, and then like looking down on things, but then I couldn't climb up trees that high because they barely had branches under 10 meters, and then B, I don't think that's traditional landscape at all.
That would be incredible for work, though. Holy crap.
Oh, yeah. That's why I want a drone. The feud continues.
Oh, my God.
I want a drone, and Harrison doesn't want me to get a drone. He's being Papa Bear and saying no. Well, what?
It's so cliched.
But it's good, because then I don't have to climb the tree to get the shot.
It's different for
photos than for film.
Video, please never get a goddamn drone.
Why?
Photos,
Why?
maybe, if you can use it enough and, like, I don't know, get really interesting shots. But if not, it's just become something you'd leave in your room and you can't be bothered carrying around. And on that point, on to the next topic.
Which is practices and setting up the shot.
Shut up.
Fuck. Hit him with the sour, boy. Alright. Sorry, we're all digesting.
Chew, chew, chew.
I'm still ingesting.
Wait, so what are we talking about?
I'm eating.
We're talking about you eating. Okay, what were we talking about?
Practices. Like the way we set up the shot, the technical aspects, and what we had to do to get them.
I'll go first. So I take the camera, I move it up to my eye, pretty slowly, because you don't want to hit yourself in the eye. Okay, no.
What was that even from?
Myself.
Okay. Quotes.
Harrison, think about it. 2K18.
Maybe I should put a quote. Oh yeah, Yes. Yes. Yes! Woo!
Meme review!
Your parents are gonna kill me. Okay, how did you set up your shots? Let's start with week randomizer.
One. You're gonna have to animate that now.
I'm not doing that. 2.
Okay, week 2.
Oh, you thought it was gonna be week 1. You were wrong. CSGO case opening, incorrect answer. You got a rare skin, not a other thing. A really rare skin.
Patty really doesn't know how CSGO works.
Not really.
Okay, week 2. Setting up my shot. Got people to drive me to somewhere where the landscape was nice. Okay, now I'm going to start that again.
Oh, yeah, just a note for editing, Pat. I'll just start that again. Just make a cut here. Make a really nice cut here. I really, sympathize with editing Pat. It's like a whole nother person. There's recording Pat, which is me right now. And then there's editing Pat, which is the person who has to look back and say, why did you think this was a good idea to say? I either have to A, edit this, A, cut this out. Wait, I said A twice. A, edit this, B, cut this out, C, bleep this, or D. D comes the next in the alphabet. D, animate this. And those are my 4 options. Or, usually I just resort to cutting it out, to be quite honest. I don't have time to edit these things.
And there's the intro. Just
I don't want that.
Recording, editing. Dead. Fuck.
I have to edit that! Oh, your parents are gonna kill me. Practices and techniques. So week 2...
Don't know.
You did the landscape. What was your exposure, do you reckon? Was it long? No?
No, it was handheld, I think it...
Oh, it was handheld.
Yeah, for my landscape it was handheld.
Oh, I thought it would have been on a tripod.
No, Rothney was carrying my tripod. I'd never used it. I'm an
you
asshole.
made someone else, carry around your tripod. Nice.
I think it was at f2, probably about 100th of a second, and ISO 400, maybe 600.
ISO. Yeah, I can't remember my
Something
settings.
like that.
Is there not much like in regard? Did you just go say this looks cool and went?
Yep.
And then that's your photo.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm really bad at both describing how I take my photos and setting up photos.
My technical things was hike up a mountain. Week 2 was a terrible one to start with. What are we going to talk about with landscape? Surely there's going to be like ones that we can set up and talk about technical aspects of them. What's the next one?
Black and white?
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. So we've got headshot, black and white, and what's the next? Artistic candy?
I'm checking now.
Okay. Meanwhile, we'll enjoy Paddy's sing-along song. Sing with Paddy, because he's...
Week 6 is autistic candy.
No! Oh, you can't say that.
Week 6 is artistic candy. That's gonna suck ass.
We'll talk about those ones later.
Ooh, week 7's...
No, shh. They can go and look themselves. What is it?
Faceless.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I got so many ideas.
I'm so looking forward to not having to put my photo in a face. Son of a bitch.
It doesn't have to be a self-portrait.
Yeah, I
don't know why you...
my portrait in a face. God damn it.
Nah, I'm still looking forward to most like the hands. The portrait hands.
I'm actually looking forward to environmental for portrait the most.
I'm not looking forward to that most, but I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to have like a lot of... It's not going to be as such how creative can you be, but it's just going to be so interesting seeing...
It's who you have the most balls to ask to take a photo of.
Or like, who's got the most awesome connections kind of thing.
No.
If anyone takes a picture of some CEO in an office, I'm going to be very disappointed with them.
So
that includes you, editing Patrick. Remember that when you hear this.
Wait, you're cheating. You have 2 people on your team. I only have 1.
What?
You have editing Patrick on your team.
And recording
Patrick?
I'm actually bipolar. Is that rude to make a joke about?
Yep. Leave it in.
Is it rude to make a joke? Crap.
Bipolar Pat.
Don't make bipolar Pat a thing.
Okay. Make Patrick's bipolar a thing then.
You can make anything but bipolar Pat. Oh, should not be inviting people on the internet to make anything up about me. You can make lots of things up about me within lots of reason. Lots of reason. Alright, let's jump back to week 1. I should be doing this chronologically.
Yep. I don't know why the hell you started with week 2. Because you're a dumbass. Okay, week 1. Tripod. I used a tripod for once. Set a long exposure of, I think, 2 seconds was what I used. And manually had to set the focus after like 30 minutes of trying to get it right. That was a pain in the ass.
Wait, I can just imagine you running along the train lines, going, running back. The PSOs, which are like the police officers at the train station, looking at you like, mate, are you okay? And you're just like standing there, waiting for it to take a photo with your jazz hands up, running back and going, oh, nah, I focused it the wrong way. Gotta go back the opposite way, and then doing it again. You
don't know how close you are to the truth.
That'd be like some
real painful.
Great, like Mr. Bean kind of thing.
I really should have like taken a video. It was too damn dark there.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, it was a night shot, and I got really lucky because a car drove in front of my camera just as it went off, and like I got the tail lights. No, it was good.
I don't want to be too critical, but I think we should both like learn to be critical of one another's. So that we. Did you think that the light in the left-hand side ruined the symmetry? Some of the symmetry made
a bit.
Yeah.
But it was such a boring photo without it.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Were you hoping for that to happen, or?
No, but when I edited it, it looked more interesting to me.
Cool. Yeah, I stressed for that week because I don't know, I hated that week. So
Again, you put in like 3 or 4 hours of work on your photo.
Yeah, I dedicate like a day to each.
I don't have time for that crap. I do actually. I have no life other than uni, but
I'm gonna stop dedicating so much time to it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That gives me more of a chance.
To be fair, so one of the things we talked about with Artistic Red last week was how I was genuinely concerned because a lot of our judges they don't have a big background or any background in photography themselves. So a lot of them are looking at it just from, I think a lot of them look at it from visual appeal, but we do tell them the topics and what they're like supposed to be judging based on, but it is still up to them and it's all subjective. So when I saw Harrison's, I think I told you, like, I'm really concerned because I prefer yours, and I still do prefer yours from a stylistic perspective.
I think yours suited the topic more.
Mine was heavy in like themes. Truth be told, I didn't come up with a theme before I came up with the photo. I came up with the photo and then realized that there was a theme afterwards. I know it sounds weird.
Right.
Because it seems like a photo that's just been like so honed in to a specific like message, but it's not like, originally I didn't make that photo. I didn't come up with the idea for that photo, I should say, for that kind of like how should we treat our meat and like food message.
By injecting it with paint?
Yeah, additive colors.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought it was actually pretty like creative, artistic.
Red.
And yeah, it was red. Although that purple slider was a bit of a pain, but that's okay.
Purple slider.
Hue, saturation, luminance. Turned out that the steak was more purple for the most part than it was red when it came out on camera.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, or it was like the red slider would do quite a bit to it, and then like the purple slider would also do quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I either turned the luminance all the way down or I had to turn it all the way up for the purple. And it just didn't look right because a lot of the steak or the piece of meat was actually in the shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about your landscape.
What do you want to, like, you should actually ask me questions because that was just a mess of a week, honestly, for me.
I don't know. You used your old camera for that, right?
Yeah, I did.
Why?
Yeah. Well, there's the obvious reason, which is I don't have a wide angle lens for my...
Mine was taken on a 50mm.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I thought yours would have been wider than that.
No. It was just ages away. Actually, I should have gone with an 80mm because there was
Really?
still too much sky and sea. But...
Okay. Yeah, I think I did 28 mils in the end or something like that. It was around there. I think I did actually zoom to 28 from 18, and it was just such a spare of the moment thing. Like, I kind of just uploaded all the photos, and there was like 200 of them because we've been up there for about half an hour. And I was like, yeah, there'll be one good one from this. And I was looking over them, and just, there wasn't, like, I don't know, there was multiple issues I had with it. I have a question.
Yeah.
How would you have been if I had included a human subject in there? And where does that, if you would have accepted it, where do you draw the line?
It depends how prominent.
Yeah?
I think. If you have someone like pretty small, like showing the scale of a landscape, or
Yeah.
but it can't be like a. No. I don't know. I think the issue with yours that week. I think the issue with your photo that week was it kind of fell apart in the edit. Like the original photo probably wasn't. I mean, it wasn't that great. Let's face it. But I don't know if it's because your camera's so old, or your old camera's so old, or what. But it kind of.
I agree with you. I think the editing, I think I over-processed it way too much. Another thing that I look back on it, and because it's on my Instagram now, I'm actually getting more and more unhappy with it being there, but I'm not going to delete it. But, you know the sky, how it's got that little thing? I don't really want to admit this, but that's all done in post, using graduated filters. That's why it had that thing.
Oh no.
Rule number 1, don't do that, but I did it.
Oh well.
Because there was no point of interest, and I'm like I have to do something. And I think it would have been better if I hadn't done that in retrospect.
Did you turn the contrast all the way down for that?
Nah, I turned it up actually, but actually I think it was like about 23, 26. I don't know why I can remember that.
I don't know, just something about the quality of it. It wasn't like the colours or anything particularly, but aside from the sky. But I don't know, the quality just.
Yeah, I don't think I see. This is the weird thing is I don't think I cropped it at all. I may have rotated it like a mil or something, but not much. The quality I kept on zooming in on all my photos, and the quality was just not there. Now, in retrospect, I was looking at my ISO, and I think it was set at 320, which is still not too high, but
You should be able to get away with that. But...
yeah. But one thing that's come to my mind is I think I was shooting in a flat neutral profile. Would that make any difference to how the blacks come out? Because I did want some like really rich dark blacks in the end and stuff.
Oh, I wouldn't have said so.
Oh, I usually try to keep it at like a neutral 2 kind of level. And then that, to me, with portraits at least, gives me the biggest color range on my cameras to edit the skin tones, which is the most important thing. But all my camera is set up for portraits. As soon as it becomes like landscape, I get stressed and I go, oh.
Mine's very different. I mean, I can do portraits, but I'm definitely more of a street photographer or, I don't know, not really nature, but anything other than portraits.
I ended up doing some research as well. One of the things that I liked about that week is that with portraits, I'm just so used to not being able to adjust that orange slider, like, at all. And, like, you get to portraits, and for me, it's so easy to over-process because I'm now given the flexibility to adjust that orange slider, which just gives me a whole... But if there's another photo on my Instagram page where it's a bunch of rocks, a bright blue sky, and I just brought out the red 100 and then the sky 100 by just to see what it would look like as a choke, and I actually really liked it. But it's still over-processed. And that's my big issue, I think, is my editing process.
Yeah, it's always, I guess, how much processing is too much processing is kind of subjective. But
I guess with landscape, a lot of the processes and techniques that we can talk about week by week will come down to the editing processes. Black and white, maybe not so much. Oh, no, there's definitely things that we can talk about.
We're going to have to shoot black and white a lot differently.
How are you going to shoot?
Well, like, I'll use my camera the same way. I also have to edit it in black and white. But with black and white photos, you can't use colour to draw your attention.
Yeah.
So it's like leading lines or rule of thirds, all of the above.
Texture as well is a big thing.
Yeah. And I don't know how the hell to do with that with landscape.
I've got some ideas. Because I have been doing some research after being unhappy with that landscape on. So one of the things that I think I really fell flat on, and like, just chime in if you agree, is I didn't have a point of interest. I don't know if you like. I didn't see a point of interest. I saw a flow of information on the image, but I didn't see
on yours, on my
on mine.
Yeah.
And I didn't see somewhere I could like isolate and say that's where the focus is going to.
Mine did mine?
Yeah, yours definitely did because yours had the mast lining up with some of the buildings in the middle of the city, and that like drew your attention. And
yeah.
I actually think picking a 50mm lens over an 80mm lens and giving it that much, although you did crop 2:1, but still giving it that much room up the top kind of helped actually draw your attention into the middle.
Yeah, that was kind of what... That's why I didn't crop more.
Yeah.
Because I liked having the sky and the sea sort of bracket the city.
Well, let's talk about the next 3 weeks. So next week is portrait headshot, or this week is portrait headshot.
Yes.
Do you have any concerns?
I'm not a big portrait person, but...
Well, he is a big portrait person. Ow. Damn. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I'm kind of concerned about portrait headshot, specifically, because when you think of a headshot, it's very business-like and not at all creative, in my world at least. So I don't know how to get creative. And my photo for last week, the red photo, was very much a headshot anyway, so I can't recreate that or anything.
Just don't go as close up. If I was to give you some tips, which don't take them the wrong way. The way I like always try to envision a great portrait, not necessarily actually definitely not a headshot. I don't really like. I see headshots as a very formalized thing, and it's all about the way you're posing someone. But with a portrait, if you're trying to get creative, try to think of it. It does come a big part of it is a part of the planning process, because if you don't get the right place and person together, it doesn't work. But the way I see it is try to think of how you can situate that person to interact with their environment. A portrait isn't when you don't have someone who interacts with their environment, it becomes as if they become separate from their surroundings, if that makes sense. Like the background and them, it actually
clashes, kind of.
Yeah, it clashes, and it becomes a bit tacky in my head, at least, because you just see this posed person, but there's no reason behind why they're in a place.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I mean, there's the one photo with Tasha. I think I posted it on Review, where she's touching some of the leaves and berries that were above her. And originally we were having her pose, and I was having an upwards shot at her. And that was just to, like, I really do like having upwards shots, especially at females, just to kind of, like, show them in, like, this big, powerful stance. But I was doing that, and it just seemed, it's obvious that it's staged, and it seemed very superficial. But as soon as I said, okay, look at the leaves above you and touch them, or interact with them as if you're picking them, she started doing that, and it kind of joined the background in her. It also separates them in the sense that it creates a depth of field a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You build layers by having them touch and interact, and it doesn't need to touch. If they look at something and they're close enough, that'll force the viewer's eye to go to there, and then that's the same thing. It's just, as long as they're kind of aware of their surroundings. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't really work particularly for headshot.
Nope. Doesn't work with headshots. So this week is still going to be difficult.
Ugh.
Because, well, what do you think a headshot should be?
When I think of a headshot, I think of someone, it's the photo that you see on, like, an ID card, but nicer.
Yeah, same. I think, like, it should be something that can be used very professionally across, like, it should be versatile, I guess, across multiple professions and platforms. So if someone's in a business, you need to be able to give them a headshot where they can show their friends, but also show co-workers. And if they're the boss of, like, a team, they can use that to...
I'm not going to do that, because that is incredibly boring.
Well, see, I'm really concerned, because aside from... For me, it's just going to be how can I pose the subject, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to the next thing, which is black and white.
Yes, landscape black and white.
Are you shooting in black and white, or are you shooting in colour?
We'll shoot in colour and then edit, because I don't trust my camera to take in black and white properly.
I haven't taken black and white much, like photos. I haven't taken photos in colour and converted them to black and white much. I haven't taken photos in black and white much.
I have, and I kind of liked how they turned out, but they definitely weren't landscapes, so this is going to be an entirely new experience for me.
I have a question. Is it hard to keep in mind that what you're taking, you'll be converting into black and white when you're taking it?
Probably.
I feel... Sorry.
I never really thought about that when I took, like, the black and white photos I have taken. But for landscape, I reckon you're going to have to, like, not rely on really bright colours or anything to draw the attention. Like, have your point of interest in the photo be, like, at the end of a road, or not.
Okay.
I don't know.
See, I'm just so used to looking at the colours and being like, I'm very good at looking at the colours now and knowing how I can, like, manipulate them and how they'll come out on my computer and in my editing software and stuff. But instead of that, now I have to look at essentially how dark and what shadows there's gonna be, But I think it's going to be a good exercise for me to learn. And I should probably start taking more black and white photos, I think.
Yeah, it's always interesting. It's like shooting on film. Like you're using a different part of your brain almost.
Because the way color translates on film, particularly, you'll know how it looks in reality and go, that looks good, and then you'll take it on black and white film, and then it could look absolutely trash when it's printed. All right, and then the sixth week, which is candy.
Artistic candy.
How are we defining artistic? Can we try and figure out, at least for the audience sake, what we're interpreting? It can be different. So I'll start with you.
How I interpret candy, or how I interpret
artistic, like how you're approaching them.
Something more abstract than like something you can't define it as a landscape or a portrait or something like that. That being said, my last artistic was definitely a portrait. So
are you approaching it as if it has to be surreal?
No, not quite. It just has to be. I don't know. I'm not good enough to do that. So currently, it's just a photo featuring the subject.
Well, for me, artistic, it just has to demonstrate some creativity throughout the process. And on that note, I just want to go back to week 3 this week, which was artistic red. I genuinely think if our judges knew our processes, even though mine took longer, mine was more of a technical process, like an advertising photo shoot. Yours was creative in using a found resource. Have you explained? I think you explained in the video, but if you want to go over
it. Oh, yeah. Okay, so my photo for last week was a portrait of a mate of mine. And I literally told him to pull his car over in a car park, like in a dark corner of a car park. And got him to kneel behind the car with another mate on the brake pedal. And used that brake light to illuminate half his face. And then took that portrait of him looking directly into the lens. It's like a two-faced look, basically. And I kind of came up with that on the spot, really. So, a bit different for Paddy's.
That would have been a great self-portrait as well.
Yeah, I know.
Like a really good self-portrait.
Every time I think of something better, it's like, oh.
Oh, gosh. What was I talking about?
Something about how I should win or you should.
Oh, yeah. So
if the judges knew.
If the judges knew the processes, I definitely think where Harrison came in creatively more was in his process. But obviously when you look at a photo, you're not always going to see the process behind it. In mine's obviously taken in a pretty, as bootleg as it was, a studio environment. And in yours...
Which mine definitely wasn't.
Yeah, yours was it wasn't environmental, but it was using the environment and the resources around you.
It was nothing professional at all.
So the way I interpret artistic is, I would say I look at it from, it just has to be creative in some regards to the processes, techniques, or the way the image is carried out. So for mine was very thematically creative, incidentally. Because I swear on my life, I did not plan originally for it to have that strong message. I just thought I did a bunch of research on Pinterest and sidelined these pictures, and I saw that meat was red, and I didn't want to use cliche objects, so I chose meat. And then I saw this picture of a girl with lipstick on, and she had a little sticker on it that said wet paint, which was really cool.
Right.
And then I kind of combined them. And then the syringes, I don't know where they came from.
Blood?
Yeah, I think I was looking for something morbid because originally I did want to use blood.
Right. Well, you definitely put a lot of...
Thought.
I hate Pinterest.
Oh yeah, it's the number one center for stealing, appropriating, and Copyright infringements,
Yep.
I guess. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on was, how are you going to do? What are you thinking for candy? How scared are you for candy?
Pretty scared.
Because I'm shitting myself. I'm literally shitting myself.
It depends on how do the judges define candy? How do we define candy?
Why is it a thing?
Candy is an American word.
Yeah.
So is it lollies for us? Is it chocolate? Is it like Candyland? Like some Willy Wonka shit?
I'm just gonna when we tell them, are we gonna say candy?
Yeah.
I say we just keep it at candy and see what they think. But like,
Candy the stripper.
Oh god, goes to
environmental portrait and candy in 1 week.
No. No. Oh god, no. Each week so far you've kind of seen something that they're trying to test you and being okay, red, try to isolate a color. Headshot, try to do a formal photo of someone. Black and white, try to stop considering your colors and just strip it back to bare bones. Then it goes to candy and it's what are we learning from this?
How to interpret such a broad term.
If anything, it's good when we get jobs from clients because it's going to be teaching us how to work to a brief.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's the only thing I can think of. But that's not necessarily a photography thing if you're a hobbyist.
Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's going to be my work, my hell week of just sitting there stressing. This is uni assignments. So for anyone who doesn't know, I deferred this year and Harrison's still in university. So Harrison's balancing this and university and I've got a lot of time on my hands.
To be fair, this is good practice for my uni course, so...
Yeah, true. Harrison studies film and television.
Yeah, I'm a camera boy.
He is a camera boy. He is my big boy, my big camera boy.
I'm going to kick you in a second.
Don't kick me, big boy.
3, 2... Oh. Don't touch me!
Oh, Harrison, yes. Ow. Alright, we should end this before it's going to end badly. You can do the outro.
Thank you for listening.
No, just...
No, you're doing it. Screw you.
Why do I have to do it?
Because I don't want to.
Oh, okay. What do I say? No, Dad. Harrison. Hello. I almost called you Dad. You can call me... You can be my daddy.
Hey, son.
Hello, Dad.
Hey, Sonny.
Sonny Jim. Thank you so much for listening, not watching. Hey, boy, I almost said watching. Don't touch me. You're going to block the mic from hearing me. Thank you so much for listening. This has been the Tri-Monthly Podcast, weeks 1 to 3. We might have some other ones every now and then, but they probably won't be about the 52-week photography challenge. I've got something stuck in my throat. It's probably saliva.
No.
It's saliva. Thank you so much for listening. Please follow us at our Instagram handles, at Rearview Media, at HarrowPickAvance, that's right, and at Patrick Woodward. I'm learning. Hey, boy. Also, if you want to keep up to date, once again, just use the hashtag 52Rearview on Instagram if you post a photo that is applied or could be used for one of the topics, and we can go check it out. Aside from that, thank you so much, and feel free to like.
And we'll see you in 3 weeks.
Love you. Oh, Harrison, no! Oh!
See ya!